كويس هسه
So, shall I wait for Sam? All right, some of you are here. I don't have a formal stakeout. I just have to inform you of the decision. The Council met in close consultation, as you know, to discuss the letter which was received from the Permanent Observer State of Palestine for renewed consideration to their application. And the Council has agreed to meet an open meeting today at noon, 12 o'clock, to formally proceed with referring the letter from the Permanent Observer of the State of Palestine to the Committee on Admissions. The Committee on Admissions will discuss what was received in the letter, which is for the Security Council to give renewed consideration to their 2011 application for membership in the United Nations during the month of April. So we have agreed that at noon we will go to committee. The committee has to deliberate within the month of April, and we all recognize that any member of the Council may decide to present a resolution for membership to be voted at any time, as is the procedure of the Council. Thank you. Okay.
I'm here on another issue which I wanted to share with you. In the last 3 days, the armed forces of Ukraine carried out a number of attacks against the Zaporozhye nuclear power plant. According to the press service of the ZNPP, on April 5th, attacks of Ukrainian combat drones were detected in the area of the cargo port and nitrogen oxygen station number 2. On April 7, even more grave incidents occurred. At 11:38 local time, a kamikaze drone hit the area of the canteen on the territory of ZNPP. As a result, 3 persons were injured, one of them heavily, and a truck unloading the food was damaged. It is worth saying that just 20 minutes before the attack, this area was visited by the IAEA experts in accordance with the previously agreed plan. Precisely half an hour later, at 12:08 local time, a strike of combat drone was detected in the area of the ZNPP cargo port. And almost 3 hours later, at 15:05, the armed forces of Ukraine directly hit with a drone a nuclear installation, the dome of the power unit number 6. Approximately at 15:30 local time, 3 IAEA experts, accompanied by the ZNPP employees, visited the sites that had been attacked around the plant. They inspected the places with the drones, hit with the drones, documented the damage and remains of munitions and delivery vehicles. Furthermore, at 16:21 local time, a kamikaze drone was suppressed over the power unit number 5. At 17:08, the armed forces of Ukraine struck the ZNPP training center. As you can see from the number of and intensity of attacks, as well as from the facilities that were hit, it is not about some accidental strikes. It is about deliberate and massive shelling of the largest nuclear power plant in Europe for the first time since the previous attack against the ZNPP within its perimeter carried out by Ukrainian forces on November 20, 2022. Throughout the recent almost 1.5 years, the armed forces of Ukraine have been targeting mostly the town of Energodar, where the ZNPP employees and their families live, and the industrial zone around the plant. This time, they returned to the tactics of striking the plant itself. Apart from directly violating the 7 indispensable pillars for ensuring nuclear safety and security during the armed conflict, as well as the 5 principles to ensure nuclear safety and security at the ZNPP formulated by the IAEA Director General Rafael Grossi, the events that occurred this weekend demonstrate that the Ukrainian forces just neglect the considerations of common sense, as well as health and security of their people and the peoples of other states. Even a possibility of nuclear catastrophe is not a no-go sign for them. We are almost wondering how the Western states feel their proxies undertaking such dangerous provocations that can have grave consequences for them as well as for the entire world. We have already seen in the media yet another ridiculous claims about the Russian Federation sharing its own nuclear plant. Its absurdity, their absurdity, do not withstand any scrutiny or common sense. The reality is that our competent authorities are doing everything possible to ensure safety of the plant, of its employees, and of the IAEA experts located there. However, there is no single nuclear power plant in the world that is designed to withstand a full-scale armed attack. Against this backdrop, we urge the international community to condemn these irresponsible and gravely dangerous actions of the Kiev regime. Its Western sponsors, instead of covering up its crimes and supplying it with more weapons and ammunition, should bear responsibility for the reckless actions by Ukrainian political and military authorities and for the aimed at compromising nuclear safety and security of the global scale. I thank you.
Ambassador, are you going to call an emergency Security Council meeting on this? And as you mentioned, your people are in the plant. So do you have drone debris that you can present as evidence that it was Ukraine, in fact?
We have photos of the damage that was inflicted, and we'll share the photo with you. I'm sorry I didn't bring it with me, but I'll do it later in the day.
Are you going to have a meeting?
The meeting, one of the forthcoming meetings on Ukraine, we will raise the issue, definitely. Thank you very much.
And then on Palestine, could we ask you on the membership, could you tell us a little bit about what happened at the meeting this morning, what you expect the rest of the day? Could you kind of lay out the process a little bit to us?
As our president just said now, that we have a formal meeting at 12 o'clock referring the issue to the admission committee that in fact has already reviewed and scrutinized the case back in 2011. But the decision was taken. It was not opposed by council members, although not every one of them, including us, were happy about the decision because we think the issue has been already discussed. It does need another discussion of it. But the formal meeting will take place at 3 o'clock. The meeting of the admission committee. We decided that we'll go through the admission committee through a limited timeline. Besides, the sponsors of the potential resolution to adopt Palestine as a full member of the United Nations can present their draft at any moment, committee or no committee. Thank you very much. I'm not... Это у нас открытая встреча, Дим. Сейчас у нас закрытая встреча. Да. Yeah, that's a formal open meeting which will refer the matter to the admission committee.
When you say limited time, what is limited time?
Limited time is within, say, days or a week or two, perhaps. We are not planning to allow to drag the issue indefinitely, like perhaps some members of the council wish. In any case, the decision when to present the draft belongs to the holders, to the pen holders of the draft. Thank you.
Ambassador, just now the Israeli ambassador rejected the idea of the admission of the Israel of Palestine as
They reject the idea of the two-state solution as well. What can you expect?
Hey, Chris, headset? Chris, Stakeout headset?
Good morning, everyone. We want to thank you all for joining us. Ambassador Erdan will deliver brief remarks, and then we'll take a few questions. Please remember to introduce your name and the outlet that you are from. Thank you so much.
Good morning. From well before the establishment of the UN, the Palestinians' goal has been clear: the annihilation of the Jews. Haj Amin al-Husseini, one of the founding fathers of Palestinian nationalism, worked hand in hand with Hitler to achieve this. I just presented the photo, the picture of both of them in the General Assembly during my speech. And from then until today, the root of this conflict has not changed. The Palestinians seek the destruction of Israel and the murder of Jews. The UN was established in the wake of World War II. This is the picture that I just presented on the stage. It only demonstrates one of their meetings, and this is something well known. The UN was established in the wake of World War II to prevent atrocities such as the Holocaust, but the same genocidal ideology that this body was founded to combat is still prevalent among the Palestinians. You have to be blind, like the UN, not to see it. We all saw it on October 7th in live action, but we also see it today with the Palestinian Authority. It's not only Hamas. President Abbas not only has not condemned the massacre, the Palestinian Authority is paying monthly salaries to all the terrorists that took part in the October 7th massacre. And today, the UN has committed itself to reinforcing modern-day Nazi jihadists. As we speak, the UN and the Security Council is breaking the Guinness World Record for rewarding terror. In complete violation of its charter, the UN is considering to force the establishment of a Palestinian terror state. This won't be a regular state. It will be a Palestinazi state, an entity that achieved statehood despite being committed to terror and Israel's annihilation. If Hitler was alive today, he would be singing the UN's praises. In a sane world, uncorrupted by despicable political interest, today, 6 months after the gates of hell were opened upon innocent Israelis, the UN would be holding a vigil for the victims and an international conference to secure the release of the hostages. Resolutions would be passed condemning Hamas. Until today, not even one. But sadly, we don't live in a sane world, and the UN is more morally corrupt than ever. 6 months have passed since the massacre, and not a single UN body, not the General Assembly, the Security Council, or any other UN organ has condemned Hamas, and not even one meeting has been dedicated to our hostages. Think about it. None of the resolutions adopted here conditioned a ceasefire on the release of the hostages. And a ceasefire with no conditions is the UN's assurance that Hamas can regroup, rearm, and recommit October 7th, just as they have vowed to do. 6 months have passed, and the Security Council is busy right now in discussing the recognition of a Palestinazi state, instead of designating Hamas as a terror organization. This will be the vilest reward for the vilest crimes. The very fact that this discussion is even being held is a victory for genocidal terror. And I'm asking you, all of you, be honest. Following 9/11, could anyone fathom giving Al-Qaeda international legitimacy and status? Throughout history, there has been no greater reward for evil. Let me remind everyone, the basic requirements for admission to the UN are A, permanent population, B, defined territory, C, government, and D, capacity to enter relations with other states. But a very important principle that was stated in Article 4 of the UN Charter is, and I quote, membership in the United Nations is open to all peace-loving states. Peace-loving states. And friends, nothing is clearer than the fact that the Palestinians fail to meet these criteria. The Palestinian Authority has absolutely no control over Gaza, nor in large parts of Judea and Samaria, where entire neighborhoods and even cities are ruled by other terrorist gangs. What this in itself is grounds enough to reject this seek reward for Palestinian terror, the Palestinian Authority is itself the exact opposite of a peace-loving entity. For many years, the PA has been paying terrorists for their murderous terror attacks. This is not customary. It is Palestinian legislation. According to the law, Palestinian terrorists are paid monthly salaries for murdering Israelis. These salaries can reach thousands of dollars each month, and they are on a rising scale. The longer the prison sentence, the higher the salary. You murder more Jews, you get more money. Sickening. The families of every Hamas terrorist killed on October 7th and since will begin receiving monthly payments, along with all the terrorists that Israel has arrested since October 7th. But granting the Palestinian statehood is not only a blatant violation of the UN Charter, it also violates the fundamental principle that everyone can understand of reaching a solution, a lasting solution at the negotiating table. There is nothing that perpetuates a conflict more than one side believing that they can force their demands on the other side through a third party. And this is exactly what the UN's discussion to unilaterally grant the Palestinians a state does. It perpetuates the conflict. From even before the UN was established, the Arabs refused to accept the notion of a Jewish state in any borders, here in 1947 and since. Each time a peace plan was tabled, the Palestinians' response was to reject it outright. To the Palestinians, the only solution is a solution where the Jewish state ceases to exist. This is not how you resolve a conflict. This is how you ensure more bloodshed, more violence, and many more October 7th. An agreement can be agreed upon only at the negotiating table, not by forcing it unilaterally here in New York. The UN has been sabotaging peace in the Middle East for years, but today marks the beginning of a point of no return. Thank you.
We'll take a few questions. Please remember to introduce yourself and the outlet you're from. Start with that one.
Yeah, Ambassador Xu Dezhi with China Central Television.
Where from?
China Central Television, Xu Dezhi. Just a question. Just now in the GA hall, you said now UN is a disgrace, a shame, a total bankruptcy of a moral bankruptcy. Has you considered to leave UN or have some coming more actions on this?
No, we're not considering to leave the UN because then the situation will be worse because all the lies that are being spread here against Israel, the anti-Israel majority, as we all know, there's a group of almost 1/3 of UN member states who are Muslim countries that stands always in solidarity with the Palestinians, and it doesn't matter what are the circumstances. We know that vast majority of member states are non-democratic, so we have different values, and when our values are being questioned, and when so many lies are being spread against us, and we are being held to different standards that any other country here, and I don't want to elaborate on these standards. It's easier to do it when you represent a tiny country like Israel. So I will be here in order to shatter the lies and the double standards and expose the truth. That's why it's important for us to stay here.
Mariam Ramadi with Iran International. After Damascus attack, Iran said, the Iranian regime, that they are after revenge. In case of Iran seeking revenge, what would be Israel's response, and also the impacts of this revenge on the conflict and also on the region?
I do not mean to refer to the things that happened or did not happen in Damascus. This is not our formal policy. I can only say that we all know that Iran publicly calls for the annihilation of the state of Israel. It's unfathomable to see a member state here at the UN calling for the destruction of another member state. So therefore, we are preparing ourselves to defend ourselves, and we will do everything that is needed to defend our people. By the way, it's not a secret that Iran has been arming, funding, training all of its terrorist proxies in the Middle East, like Hezbollah, like Hamas, like Palestinian Islamic Jihad, like the Houthis. And I hope that the world would see what happened after October 7th and would understand that if Iran is not stopped, it might wreak havoc on the Middle East and endanger the future of the whole world. Iran is the biggest danger to the future of the civilized world and to the entire world.
Ambassador Erdan, there have been media reports lately that the U.S. is working with President Abbas to reform the pay-for-slay policy. President Abbas has said on multiple occasions that he would spend his last penny, if need be, on these terror payments. Do you think these talks of reform are substantive? Do you have any insight into what's being discussed?
We are grateful to everything that the American administration has been doing to support peace and security in our region. Unfortunately, personally, I'm not sure that it can be changed, because not only that I heard, like you, I heard President Abbas saying for so many times that if he has only one last penny, he will spend it on incentivizing the Palestinian terrorists. I was personally involved in such discussions, and I saw no intention from the Palestinian Authority to change their pay-for-slay policy, which I quoted in order to prove why they are the opposite of a peace-loving entity. So I'm quite skeptical regarding your question.
All right. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. מי רוצה?